Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Great. Happy Friday to everyone. It's Friday, so regardless of how the week went, uh, I think Friday is always a good time. We are heading towards the weekend, so it's always good. Now, tonight, we have a very important topic that we are going to be discussing, GRC tools. I think we did a session on cybersecurity tools in general. Now, tonight we will be discussing GRC tools for 2025, and we are going to be looking at the top, the top list, top tier of GRC tools for 2025. Now, we are going to be looking at the top tier, generally, and then we also look at, for whatever reason, the top tier, all of it is paid. Uh, most of them don't even have free versions that you can try your hands on. So we're also going to look at on the free side, the open source side, the top tier in terms of open source free ones that you can try your hands on tonight or tomorrow, right? And with all these tools, mostly they have similar interface. So if you know how to use one, you probably will be able to easily transition those skill sets into other tools. So you are all welcome. We will start here in a second. And as everybody is joining us, kindly put in the chat where you're joining us from, and we will give you some shout out as we move along. And then also for folks looking to renew your cybersecurity certifications, you can put in the chat hashtag Team Live and take a screenshot of that. You can use that for your certificate renewal, right? So you are all very much welcome, and we are starting time now. So tonight's topic, top tools for top GRC tools for 2025, and this is brought to you by Eretmis Academy. We do cyber chat every Friday night for folks joining us for the very first time. Every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern to at least 8:30, 9-ish is where we push it to. And we are a very solid family, Eretmis family. Not everybody is able to join us every week, but at least we always have a good handful of our folks joining us every Friday night. So let's jump in. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Adu. I'm going to be your only co-host for tonight, your only pilot for tonight. And a little bit about myself, former professor, University of Maryland Global Campus, CTC also as well. And then also, I'm the member of the Forbes Technology Council, former United States Army captain, a QSA, PCI QSA, and also the CEO of Eretmis Inc., the PCI QSA company, and also the founder of Eretmis Academy. And with that, we are going to move on. We are also partners. Eretmis Academy is a partner, an authorized partner with CompTIA. And what that means is that CompTIA gives us 20% discount when we purchase vouchers through our partner website, and we push that 20% down to everybody. We've been buying uh, vouchers on behalf of many of the folks who join us on CyberChat and our students as well. So we'll gladly help you if you want to get the 20% discount. And also, I was talking about putting team live hashtag team live in the chat and taking a screenshot of it. If you want to renew your certification, cybersecurity certifications, be it your CompTIA, ISC Square certifications, or ISACA, so your CISA and the rest. There are two ways. You can either reset for the exam, or you can use continuous education or continual educational points to renew. So attending this every hour counts as one 1 point for continual educational points. So if you take a screenshot of, Team Live, you'll be able to use that. Now we have a WhatsApp group for Eretmis Cyber Chat. The link is going to be posted, so you'll be able to join if it is the very first time you are joining us. And then also our YouTube channel. This is transmitted live on our YouTube. We are streaming live, and then also the video is going to be posted, so you'll be able to get your hands on the video once it is ready. But for the live session, you'll be able to also get the live also as well. Now, for tonight's discussion, like we always do, we are going to go through our cyber news for the week, and then we'll jump into the tools Now, for the tools, we have some interesting discussion prior to us looking at the tools. So let's jump in. For cyber news, and if you have any newsworthy any cyber news for the week, you can also raise your virtual hand and bring it up. But we are going to jump in. We have interesting. So for the week, there's always a lot of cyber news out there, but we go through and we pick the ones that we think will be worth discussing here. So that is what we are going to be looking at. So for cyber news, we are looking at T-Mobile in the news. Now, before we go on, Gabriel, I think I'll let Gabriel go, and then we'll look at what we got. Go ahead, Gabriel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Adu, for the opportunity to share one of the current news that I found out in the course of the week. And as we all know that sometime last month, there was this growing concern about the news of President Trump defunding the National Vulnerability Database, specifically as regards the CV program, and that actually shook the cybersecurity community all across the world. So as a result of this, institutions and even governments are looking at alternatives. And one of the alternatives that came up in the course of the week was the EU vulnerability database that was launched. I think it was on Wednesday that it was launched just as an alternative. And if we've been following the news, we'll notice that with the growing concerns, I think President Trump actually withdrew that particular decision, and they were able to extend funding for the CV program for the next 11 months. So amidst this growing uncertainty, the EU has actually launched its own vulnerability database. And that actually brings me to the question which I said I was going to ask you. So in the situation where the EU VD describes a particular vulnerability as critical, and the NVD describes it as probably low, how would an organization or even cybersecurity professionals decide on what to do in that instance? And the second news, I know you addressed the question, but the second news I also came about in the course of the week is this data breach that affected the Australian Human Rights Commission. I think around March 20th to about April 10th, the web application that it makes use of had an internal error that has to do with their S3 AWS bucket. And it was said that lots of personal information, about 670 thereabout, was disclosed. And I was going to ask in that instance if Eretmis Incorporation was assigned to address such an incident. What would you do to address that situation? Thank you. Those are the two news and the questions I would like to follow up with. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. And very, very, I'll say very smart question, right? For the first one. And maybe for, anybody who might not really be in on what Gabriel is talking about. So Gabriel was talking about, throwing some acronyms around NVD, and then also talking about, EU setting out their own MVD and CVE. What is he really talking about? Right. So if you are new to the security space, you might probably be scratching your head and thinking, what is this guy talking about?
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to break it down grandpa style like you like?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Gabriel. But very, very interesting question. So, and then we will discuss from that. So kindly go ahead. So if you can, let me give you some guidance. Let's say I totally don't know what NVD and all that this conversation is about. Just fill me in.
Okay, so the NVD simply stands for National Vulnerability Database, and the CV that I mentioned means the common vulnerability and exposures. So those two, the database, for instance, helps cybersecurity professionals to make an informed decision because it provides a standardized approach to identifying common vulnerabilities in systems across different organizations. So vulnerabilities that have been identified in different systems and organization. There's a database. After a proper research has been done on them, there's a database that provides the weakness itself. It's assigned a number to it that everyone across the world can go through and check what that vulnerability is all about, how it affects the system, how it can be mitigated. Simply put, how can an organization provide patches and secure their and get a formidable security posture by designing their system to be defended against such vulnerabilities. That's simply what it does.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. So also, breaking it down further, in the health side, as human beings, we all go to the hospital. There are different types of illnesses, right? And on the health side, I think World Health Organization and the rest, they have a way of classifying or labeling all types of illnesses that they come across, right? So, for example, when COVID hit, we didn't know about COVID, so they had to put it in their books, give it a label, give it a name, come up with the symptoms, and then ways to prevent it, right? So our computers and our, technological systems, they also get sick. The type of diseases that they are prone to are what we call vulnerabilities, right? And all these vulnerabilities, we also have to have a way of, listing or labeling all these, illnesses that our computer systems they are likely to encounter, right? So an organization called the National Database, the National Vulnerability Database, they are the ones who keep track of all these vulnerabilities that our systems will face. And for them, they came out of NIST, right? So NIST is the one who is actually working on this under the National Vulnerability Database. And the labels or the unique identifiers that are given to these weaknesses or vulnerabilities, they are what we call the CVE. So that is what Gabriel was talking about. So the CVE kind of is like the social security number that we give to all these illnesses or vulnerabilities when it comes to the IT side, right? So every one of them have a unique CVE. So what Gabriel was talking about, President Trump's administration, they said they were not going to fund that program anymore. So now, for people to keep track of vulnerabilities that are coming up and scoring them and giving us how critical, this vulnerability might be, and, how not critical this vulnerability might be, they were going to defund them. So when they defund them, then there's a problem because the United States is leading the fight on that side. In the security space, National Vulnerability Database is, I'll say that like the mother when it comes to vulnerabilities in the world. They have a list of all the known all known vulnerabilities, and they've listed it with symptoms, like description and how to prevent or how to protect yourself against these vulnerabilities. So if the government is not going to fund such an institution anymore, then it means there's going to be a gap in our vulnerability management and keeping track of different vulnerabilities that are coming up. So EU decided to come up with their own, right? Their own version. So the question that Gabriel was asking was that, so EU is coming up with their own national vulnerability database. So they are labeling the CVEs, they might come up with a different label, different from the CVE. But then aside the labeling, all vulnerabilities, they have a score. They have their own criticality in terms of like criticality score. So how critical they are in terms of labeling them a low vulnerability, a high, medium, and a critical vulnerability, right? So that helps us to prioritize which vulnerability we are going to fix first, right? So it's like just like in the hospital, you go there, there are 3 people with different illnesses. Whom are we going to look at first, or whose is more critical that we have to pay specific attention to? So there has to be a nurse or somebody attending to them almost 24/7 or immediately, right? Same thing is what we do here, right? So if the National Vulnerability Database, they are doing their thing, we have the scoring for which one is more critical than the other. Now, if Europe decides to do their own, aside what NIST is doing, then Gabriel is asking, how are they going to be doing the labeling? Because if they say a vulnerability is critical in the list of vulnerabilities in the Europe side, but then on the US side, we know that vulnerability to be a low, then how do we reconcile the two? Right. That is what Gabriel is asking. Right now, I think I will have one of, if there are any of our interns, the January cohort, if they are on here. Last week, we discussed vulnerabilities. We were doing vulnerability research, right? And they were working on vulnerability assessment. So they have the pen test report from their company, and then also the vulnerability scan report from their company. They are supposed to go through and come up with a remediation strategy. But we discussed the fundamentals and the basics of the CVSS score, how the scoring was done, who came up with the scoring, and all that. So, if there are any of our cohort from the January 2025 internship cohort, if you want to give it a shot before I give the answer to that. Anyone? For $5. Well, if there is no one, then I'll jump in. Now, Gabriel, to answer your question, right? The National Vulnerability Database, they are not the ones who come up with the scoring system for the vulnerabilities. It's an organization called FIRST. So, and FIRST is not directly funded by the National Vulnerability Database. They are an organization on their own. I think it's being run by MIDA, right? And for them, they don't necessarily get government funding. So FIRST, FIST, they are the ones who come up with the scoring system for us to determine which vulnerability is critical and not. So the National Vulnerability Database, they borrow the CVSS score from FIRST, right? So if Europe is doing their own National Vulnerability Database, they are also going to borrow the scoring from FIRST. So there's not going to be any discrepancies about which vulnerability is more critical than the other. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. But if it was NIST NVD coming up with the scoring system, then maybe probably there will be some discrepancies, right? And Europe was coming up with their own. But fortunately for us, there is a middleman who comes up with this list of what is, like the scoring, and then everybody's borrowing from them. So, Cobson, please go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Edu, I understand that part, but I think I also remember that NIST maintains the NVD list. So they
Yes.
do the updates, and then if a vulnerability has been proven that it's no longer a vulnerability, they'll take it off, do the review thing. So if they are not funded, how would they continue to do that?
So that program is going to go away. It's going to go away. So somebody else in the world has to pick up that baton, right, and start running with it. So, but this was making the United States a leader in the cybersecurity space. But if we cut that off, then I don't know how that is going to play out. Right. Gabriel, please go ahead.
Yeah, so just like you mentioned that MITRE has the aspect of first controlled on an independent level, but that particular funding actually falls in the hands of the government still. So that's why it actually made louder noise that even as MITRE is an independent organization, which FIRST is under, they actually get their funding from the government. But I think from the news, it says that there is a foundation that has taken up the responsibility, but how that foundation, it's called the CV Foundation, but how that foundation will be acceptable to the general community, like we all accept MITRE and the national vulnerability. We don't know how far, because the credibility and all of that will come into play. And those that are actually running that particular organization will determine if they would be accorded the same respect and what or whatnot that NVDA enjoys. That's one thing I noticed. Then it takes me back to one conversation we had during the course of our class. Just like we all know that risk is a function of likelihood and impact. The information provided by the MVD, the FOST and MIDA and all of that would, and the CVSS score and all of that has been provided, will give us a good visibility when it comes to the part of impact that it can have on our systems and what have you. But for the likelihood part, I remember I mentioned the EPSS score, which would provide a detailed information comparing about 200,000 exposures over the last 30 days, and it will let you know the likelihood of that CVSS score that you've put into is if it will be exploited in the next 30 days or not. So I think that would actually come in handy when it comes to that situation I described earlier, where you need to figure out the which vulnerability you need to address first based on the impact it can have on your system. I think using a tool like that, like the EPSS lookup, would actually help in solving the problem. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Gabriel. So on that note, we are going to jump forward. So T-Mobile in the news. Why are they in the news? So T-Mobile, they had an incident, a breach in 2021, and they were taken to the cleaners, meaning they were taken to court, right? And they had to settle for 350 million. So giving out this money to customers delayed a little bit, but they've started, distributing the checks and direct deposits. So if you're a T-Mobile customer, and if you receive a letter or anything of that sort nature talking about your data was involved or compromised in this breach, then they might probably be sending you something, right? And then also all affected customers, they had 2 years of McAfee identity protection also for free for 2 years, right? So, and it cost T-Mobile 350 million to do this settlement. This affected 76 million users. So I'm not sure how much everybody is going to get, or depending on how much of your data was really exposed. Probably they know how they are going to go about this. But so for everybody using T-Mobile, maybe you have some check coming in the mail. Now, Google Chrome is also in the news. And what are they in the news for? So Google Chrome has identified a vulnerability, four vulnerabilities actually, and one is very high, is high severity. So this is the CVE score, the CVE. So this is the number for that vulnerability. The CVE score, I'm not sure if it's a high, then it's probably above 8 in terms of the CVE score. Now, depending on if you are using version 2 or version 3, now we even have version 4 for CVSS score, right? So, but all we know is this is a high, it has a high severity. So, what Google is saying, they are encouraging everyone to update your browser if you are using Google Chrome. Update it, because what makes this even serious is that attackers are able to have remote access, right, to your browser by using different exploits. And there is a natural exploit available. And what do I mean? Mostly when there is a vulnerability, attackers don't necessarily know how to take advantage of that. They have to do try and error to be able to, take advantage of that vulnerability or exploit that vulnerability. Now, once somebody is able to, have a win by being able to successfully exploit that vulnerability, they document how they were able to do it. So they have a proof of concept, and they put it on the dark web for other hackers to be able to easily get. So other hackers are not going to be guessing. They have a step-by-step how they are going to execute, right? So if we say there's an exploit for a vulnerability, then it means, attackers can take advantage of that vulnerability or exploit it, right? So if there's a vulnerability and really there's no attackers, they've not been able to come up with an exploit, then you are not really safe, but you are safe, to a certain extent, right? Until they come up with, they are able to exploit it, then, right, that will become a serious issue at that point, right? So if you are using Google Chrome, kindly, whether on your phone or on your laptop, make sure you're updating it, right? So with that, we move into our courses, and then we are going to jump into our discussion. So for folks, now talking to most of our people working in the security space who've gone through with no background. They've gone through our programs and they started working. Some have been working for years. Now, for most of their meetings and most of their discussions at work is centered around AI, right? What are we doing about our AI tools? What are some of the policies you want to put in place? And, these cybersecurity professionals, they are the ones who are being tagged to come up with AI governance strategy and AI governance documentation for their company, right? So if you are in the security space already, we encourage you to join our AI governance specialist program. It comes with internship. It's very hands-on and it's very in-depth. It's going to take you through all areas of AI. Now, you are not going to be programming or coming up with an AI program or algorithm. You are looking at the governance. So the governance, the compliance, the risks side of AI, right? And it's very interesting. Not too far from what we do in the cybersecurity space, but there's more when it comes to risks. There is more when it comes to compliance, right? And then also the governance aspect as well. And if you are totally new in the IT space and you want to, pursue a career as an AI governance specialist, you can also do so and join this program. Now, for folks also in the security space or all cybersecurity professionals or aspiring cybersecurity professionals, you need to know how to operate in the cloud as well. And, learning and passing cloud certification exams will help you to understand. But really doing projects in the cloud, in the different cloud, setups that we have, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, that is really what employers are looking for. And that is what is going to set you apart from everyone. So for this program, we take you through everything starts with knowledge. So the knowledge piece, we take you through all areas. So you be prepared for all the different types of cloud certifications out there. And then also there is a lot of hands-on that you're actually going to work in these different cloud providers. So in AWS, Azure, you know how to move around and do your cloud security in there, right? So you can also join that program as well. And then for folks who are looking to start from zero in the cybersecurity space, or even if you have some IT background or you've done some cybersecurity training, but it's been a while, we encourage you to look into our cybersecurity entry-level course. This course is a 4-month program. First 2 months you are training, and then also using some of the popular cybersecurity tools, setting up your own cybersecurity lab, doing, work using Nexus, Splunk, Qualys, Necto, the different cybersecurity tools that are out there. And then the second portion of the training is where we put you in our internship, where you actually get to work on different cybersecurity projects like conducting an audit, conducting third-party risk assessment, conducting risk assessment, incident response, and other projects like that, right? So then once you finish, we do job placement as well. We help prep your resume. We also do interview prep one-on-one. And we do this every single time till you get your first cybersecurity job, right? And even beyond getting your cybersecurity job, if you still need help, we are there to help and guide you. And everybody joining this program, you're going to receive a mentor. All mentors, they've gone through the program. They are currently working, so they know the path that you are taking, and they are able to assist and guide you through because they've gone through this program and they are all the way at the end working. And then also for our PCI DSS program, if you are looking to branch or specialize in the most lucrative, arguably most lucrative part of cybersecurity, we encourage you to look into our PCI, ESS, or payment security program. This program is going to make you a boss among bosses within your organization, right? So you can also look into joining this program. And then for folks who are already in the security space or you are interviewing for cybersecurity roles, because you have some certifications and you've done some training, but after going through several interviews, you don't really have what it takes that you're looking for in terms of what you've done, in terms of projects, right? And even if you are given the job today, you really don't know what you're going to do on the job, right? If you are in that boat, we encourage you to join our GRC internship and workshop program. The next cohort is starting on 24th. That is a week from tomorrow, 24th of this month. And this program will take you through different cybersecurity projects. We do 10 major projects. And then also you are going to be working in groups and teams. So you also get to, gain the soft skills that we need in the cybersecurity space as well. So during interviews, now you have the opportunity to speak to projects that you've worked on, projects that you've done, not, things that you've just studied or memorized. Because on the job, there's not going to be multiple choice for you to choose from. You're actually going to do, right? So now it's time for you to, move from knowledge. It's good. You've gone through, you've written several certifications. That is all good. But now, how does it really play out in real world in terms of actually doing the job? This is the program that is going to help you break that. And our WhatsApp group, the link will be posted, our YouTube channel. Also, you can, Eretmis Cyber Security. If you go on YouTube, you'll be able to subscribe. So we encourage you to subscribe. That way you don't miss any cyber chats. Now let's jump into the interesting discussion for tonight, our tools, GRC tools for 2025. So before we look at GRC tools for 2025, I'm always, everybody on here, I just don't jump into stuff like that. If somebody is new in the cybersecurity space, they've heard about GRC a lot. What is GRC in the first place for us to even look at the tools that are used in the GRC space? If you don't really have an in-depth understanding of GRC, you wouldn't have a better appreciation of, what GRC tools are used for, right? So GRC is an area or part of what we do in cybersecurity, right? So in the cybersecurity space, there are different niches within the cybersecurity space, right? Just like how in the medical side, uh, there are different niches. So somebody has specialized in surgery. Somebody has specialized in, taking care of kids. Somebody has specialized in. So there are different niches like that in every industry. In the cybersecurity space is the same, right? Now GRC, actually there was one of the people from academia, they came up with, or they coined the term GRC, right? So up to, I think probably like 15 or 20 years ago, GRC wasn't really a thing. Although we did governance, we did regs, we did compliance, but actually, I stand to be corrected on that date, but about, I think, it's been a while since somebody came up with and coined that term GRC. So GRC simply, we are looking at everything that has to do with governance, risks, and compliance in the cybersecurity space, right? Now, when we talk about governance, what are we referring to? When we talk about risks, when we talk about compliance. Now, if you really want to argue your point out or, break things down in the cybersecurity space, we can really attribute everything that we do in cybersecurity to GRC. It can all fall under the bigger umbrella of GRC, right? Because governance, we are talking about structures in terms of documentation, standards, policies, operating guidelines, SOPs or procedures or operational procedures, standard operational procedures that we use in cybersecurity, right? So, for an organization, the organization has its own governance, the business governance. Now, out of the business governance is where we have the IT governance, and then out of that will come the cybersecurity or information security governance, right? So governance simply how we are governing everything that we are doing within cybersecurity. Now, when it comes to risks, we were discussing about vulnerabilities, right? Every system, might have some illness or some weakness. That weakness is called a vulnerability. Now, the vulnerabilities are and there are also attackers, there are hackers, there are so many things going on. If the vulnerability is exploited, or if an attacker can take advantage of the vulnerability, then there is what we call risks. Risks will materialize at that point, right? So everything that we are doing, everything that everybody is doing in cybersecurity, the overall goal is to help reduce risks to an acceptable level. And the acceptable level will be determined by your organization, right? So risks covers everything we do for vulnerabilities. So the discussion that we're having earlier on about the National Vulnerability Database, blah, 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 all that falls under risks, right? Now, and threats, the EPSS that Gabriel was talking about and everything else that we use to guesstimate how attackers or threats will occur, all of that falls under risks, right? Now, when it comes to compliance, there are a lot of rules and regulations that we all have to adhere to as citizens, as organizations, right? Is the same here in the cybersecurity space. For example, when as citizens, when it comes to paying taxes, I think by the 15th of April, if you've not filed your taxes, and whether you worked during the tax year or you didn't, you are in for a treat, right? So whether you worked or you didn't work, we all know by 15th of April you should file your taxes. If not, they are going to bring you some, some not check, but they will bring you some bill for you to pay, right? Now that is maybe a rule or a regulation that we have to all comply with. Same thing for what we do in cybersecurity side. On the cybersecurity side, there are rules, or here we call it standards or frameworks that we have to stay in compliance with. Now, some of these standards, they are mandatory, others are not, right? So when it comes to compliance, we are looking at the mandatory standards and the non-mandatory standards based on what your organization is doing or the industry they are in. They will be obliged to follow or stay in compliance with one or two of these. And when we talk about the compliance side, we are looking at how you are going to adhere to these rules and regulations or standards that we have in the cybersecurity space. So example, PCI DSS that we're discussing, we have a program about, is a standard that organizations that accept credit card and debit cards, they have to stay in compliance with, right? You have no option but to stay in compliance with. HIPAA, if you're in the health industry, you have to stay in compliance with HIPAA. You have no option, right? It's not like you choose to. Now for a standard like ISO 20701 and others, it is really not mandated unless, of course, you are working with an agency or you are working with a company and they require you to stay in compliance with it. Either than that, the company can choose to stay in compliance with it or not. Right? So that discussion, we can have that. But this is a breakdown of the GRC space. Now, I think with this understanding of what GRC is about, you have a better appreciation of what GRC tools are used for, right? Before we jump into the top tier of GRC tools for 2025. So for GRC tools, they are simply softwares that we use to help us do what we do for governance and for risks and for compliance, right? So on the governance side, like I explained earlier, align the business goals uh, with IT, and then also managing policies and procedures and everything that we do in the organization. And then also for risks, identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks and monitoring risks. So doing all these, we cannot do everything manually, right? Most of the things, and we are going to discuss about tools, what tools can do and what you have to do as a security professional, right? And then for the compliance side also, right? So even if not for anything, for an organization that has maybe, uh, even if you have like 20 or 15 or 30 policies and they have to be renewed annually, uh, if you have an automated tool or something that looks kind of like a calendar that is going to send you some alerts and show you, hey, this is coming to you, this is at least that is going to help for us to keep track of things, right? So if you don't even know what these tools are going to be used for, at least they can be sending us alerts to know what is coming up, what we have to work on, right? So that is what cybersecurity tools are used for. The GRC tools and all other security tools also kind of follow the same space. So key capabilities falls under what I discussed or what we were talking about here earlier. So policy management, risk assessment, audit management, incident response, regulatory compliance, and then also reporting and dashboards. So dashboards, most of these tools, their dashboard helps us to see in real time what is going on in terms of our security posture, what is going on in terms of our compliance, in terms of our risks, in terms of our governance, right? So that is what these tools really do. Now, benefits of these tools, I think you can derive that from everything that we've talked about. So it helps with efficiency, it improves efficiency, it reduces risks, enhance compliance, and then also streamline audits. And we can, add more to it, right? So it helps with most of the things that we do, and it makes it easy and simple. Now, will a GRC tool do the work for you? Or you have to be the one doing the work and the tool is going to be your co-pilot, right? what is the take on this? Would a GRC tool do the work for you? Anyone? Maybe folks working in the security space?
Yes, Dr. Odu, I believe that that tools will work for us because the tools facilitate how we can program in our script or our assignment. For instance, if we use Tech tools, is the best tool for risk management. So we just do our assignment on the tool. I don't know if I'm right.
Okay, so maybe if we rephrase, right? Let's look at maybe cooking, right? For our chefs and even cooking in the house. You know, we have a lot of instruments we use for cooking or a lot of tools that helps us with cooking. So like your stove, your you have a blender, you have a microwave, you have, you know, other things. Will your stove and your blender and your microwave and do they really do the cooking?
No, no.
So what
I
part
mean,
do they play then?
we work together. So we bring yeah, I'm lost now.
Okay. So maybe probably now everybody's getting the point.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that is why mostly during different cyber chats and when we discuss different things, you know, we tell you don't focus too much on, oh, I want to learn this tool, I have to learn all these tools. Yes, you can learn how to use the blender, you can learn how to use the microwave and the stove. But if you don't know how to cook, good luck. What are you going to use the stove for or the microwave for? I mean, you know how to turn it on, yes, good. What are you going to cook? Nothing, obviously, right? But if you know how to cook and there is no blender, there is no, you can improvise, come up with, right? Or if the blender you are used to, this one is some high-tech blender, some smart blender, you can even blend from your phone. Well, you're more power to them, but it doesn't really change anything about what you're going to cook and how the food is going to come out, right? So, yes, the tools are not going to do the work for you. The answer is no. But the tools, because the tools are not going to replace you and they cannot replace you, right? The tools are going to augment what you do. So for some of us, all the way from Africa, you know, if you don't have a stove, there is a traditional stove or like traditional something that you can still get your fire and cook with. But now, if there's a stove, you just turn it on and it's on. I mean, that is Christmas. How your life becomes easier. You don't have to go look for some wood and stuff to create your own fire, right? Now, you just turn it on, the fire's on, right? So, it's not the stove that is going to be doing the cooking. The stove makes your life a bit easier, right? And that is why for our internship, we actually teach you how to do the cooking, not how to use the stove. So if you go anywhere and they're using a stove or some high tech, then it becomes hey, is easier. Now, on the job, do you think they are going to, if you don't know how to use the stove or the blender, they are going to teach you how to use the stove and blender? Anyone?
Oh, sir.
Yes, they're going to teach you how to use the stove.
Yes,
And
they will.
because how long is it going to take you to really learn about how to turn on the stove and turn it off? You see my point? But if you don't know how to cook, are they going to teach you on the job? Like you are the new chef who just came in. Hey, George, welcome. You know, so and then you are at the back of the restaurant, and they're like, "Yeah, this person needs that and that and that and that," and you are there like, "Okay, so how do you turn this stove on?" They're like, "Yeah, turn it the Okay, they turn it on for you. Bam, 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 bam. You are done. Right now, you don't know how to cook. You are just, you know, winging it, and you're able to get this gig. They're like, hey, they need this. Oh yeah, I'll learn how to turn this stove on. This, yes, you know all these. Turn the stove, everything is on. Now they are looking at you. Yeah, the customers are waiting. You know, let's go. And how you are putting, you know, things that are not even supposed to be in the food in there, right? So for the tools, at least you should know a tool, maybe one or two, know how to use at least one or two tools. I'm not saying don't go in without knowing any tool. At least know one or two, right? But the tools are not going to do the job. The tools cannot replace you, right? The tools are just there to augment what you are going to do. So, example, what the tool, some of the things the tool will do, some of the automated, repetitive tasks the tool is going to do for you. So, like tracking, giving you alerts on what is coming up due, where you can actually, compile all your evidence, compile your policies and everything, right? Keep track of which one is coming up, which one is, and you're also able to see if you are doing an audit, you are doing either internal, external, it is going to show you where you are at in terms of percentages. Oh, you are almost 80% done. Or, for your evidence that you are gathering or things that you had gaps on, you have like maybe 20% to go, right? So that kind of helps you with the planning and everything. It standardize your risk assessment as well and audit processes like I just spoke about. It helps to generate reports and dashboards, right? Now, sometimes you don't have to do things too hard, right? So, for example, maybe if you are doing a PCI audit, and you don't really need a tool to do it, but maybe there's a tool that you are using, and this tool, they've grabbed everything that you need for your ROC right into the tool. So instead of you going there and manually typing everything, you are still going to be typing, but once you're done, you click on it and it's just going to generate your ROC for you without you doing it the manual way, right? You can do it the manual way, but this will help you to speed up a little bit, right? But really, when it comes to doing the auditing, right, looking at evidence, observing documentation that has been given, interviewing people, would the tool interview somebody for you? Would the tool observe, actions that are being taken or processes? Of course not. So hopefully everybody gets that piece. So centralizing documentation and evidence. So if I'm doing this with Shongo, Shongo can go in there and see what I've gathered so far. I can also go in there and see what he's doing, right? So the tools, they really help. Now, as a GRC specialist or GRC or cybersecurity professional, you still have to know what risks, what type of risks exist, why controls are needed, how to regulate or how regulations are going to apply, because it's up to you to decide which frameworks your company is going to use and all that, right? How to escalate issues, and issues here meaning incidents, how to interpret data. So another example, you can have a vulnerability scan, just like what our interns are doing this week. Your vulnerability scan report has been given to you. You are looking at it, you don't even know what is on there. So how are you going to come up with a remediation strategy, right? Although the vulnerability scanning tool is going to come up with some recommendations on, hey, this is what you can do to fix this, this is what you can do to fix that. But really, if you don't understand the vulnerability that is there, and they still give you a description of it and break it down, but if your foundation is weak when it comes to networking and vulnerabilities and ports and protocols, you are going to run into some issues, right? Now, the tool is not going to come up with a timeline when to fix this and who's supposed to fix it and all that. Is you. The planning, the strategy side is always going to be you. That is why a tool can never replace you. And when people talk about AI is going to be, AI cannot replace you. Unless, of course, you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're about, right? Then maybe AI can kick you out. But if you don't know what you're about in the first place, you have no business being in the position that you are in, right, to begin with. So now, what does a GRC specialist actually do with the tool? I think at this point, with examples that we've given, everybody kind of, know the answer to that already. So we're still going to go on with that. So GRC professional, you use the tool to do almost everything that I just spoke about, right? So track policies, collaborate with legal, other folks, audits, monitor incidents, mitigation efforts, design risk assessment models. So the tools, they really help us to do a lot of things and make us move faster, right? Now, the thinking, the planning, the decision-making, the compliance strategy part of it, that is you, not the tool, right? So that is why I keep saying no tool can replace you. That's why you always have to make sure you know your stuff. Your knowledge base is solid, and also you've worked on some projects, so you know how the project is supposed to go. So if you have a tool to augment what you are doing, more power to you. It makes your life easier. If not, you can still do it manually and still get it done, right? But the thinking, the decision making, the planning, the compliance strategy part of it, that is you, not the tool. So are we supposed to know like GRC tools before we can land our first role in GRC or in cybersecurity in general? The answer is no. So tools are not like the example that I gave. If you come to our restaurant, you are a chef, you just came in today, maybe you're not used to the type of, cooking stuff, the stove and stuff that we have, the grill, you're not used to it. So, but we can show you how to turn it on and turn it off and how it works. That we can show you, in a day. That is no problem. But if you are asking somebody, hey, how do you grill this maybe meat, or what do I put on it? How long should I wait for it to, like defrost before I put it on? If you start asking those questions, people are going to turn and start looking at you funny, like, who did you say this guy was again? Was he going to be the cashier or like one of the chefs, right? And the point I'm trying to make here is you should know the job, the tools. Yes, they can, and companies, they will easily and readily train you on any tool that you're not up to speed on. Now, with that being said, if you're going to an interview and on the job description, they stated on there that, hey, you should know tools like ZenGRC, Metric Stream, Open Pages, and you go to this interview and they ask you, what is your experience or what do you know about ZenGRC and Metric Stream? And you're like, well, I've never used them, so I don't know anything about them. At that point, in Dr. Edu's books, you are a moron. Yes, you've never used it. I get it. You are not lying. But I don't think you just chanced on the interview. You are just on your way and you're like, hey, Shango, sit here. We're going to interview you right now. No. They told you they're going to interview you next week, Wednesday. You had the job description and you went in there and there is something on the job description and you are telling them you don't know or you can't even speak intelligently about, then you don't deserve the job. Because what you have to do is for every single item on the job description, for those you don't know, look into it, research. So you've never heard about ZenGRC, but they told you some of the tools, or if you're familiar with with GRC tools, and they gave you examples. You don't have to go, out of the examples they gave you. Go to ZenGRC's website. What is ZenGRC used for, right? What are the different use cases for them? They will have a video of them using it and showing you how they are using it to actually work in the GRC space. So during the interview, what is your experience with ZenGRC? You're not going to say you're an expert in ZenGRC. Oh, I know ZenGRC is used for A, B, C, and D, and you can use it in these different use cases, but I'm not really an expert in ZenGRC. Well, at least they know you are trainable. Two, you pay attention to detail, so they can work with that. But if you go in there and you're like, well, I mean, I don't really know about ZenGRC and metric stream. For me, it's not, if they don't move you forward, the problem is not you knowing the tool. Far from, they don't care about you knowing about the tool or not. They can train you on that in a day or two. But the fact that you came into the interview unprepared, right? You are not a self-starter. So they have to tell you to go look into it before. They don't want somebody like that on the job. They want somebody who is going to be a self-starter. They do things before you even, so before you ask, when you ask, they've done it already, right? Those are the people we are looking for in the cybersecurity space. So I'm giving you some tips and tricks. So when it comes to tools, don't say, oh, Dr. Edu said you don't need to know any tool. They will train you. So I'm going to go in there and then pull a blank when it comes to tools. And say tools, I mean, who cares about tools? You're going to train me, right? Right? No, you have to go in there. If it is on the job description, you have to at least research into it and find out what it is used for. Now, granted, because somebody will say, yeah, but because tools, let me also tell you one thing. The tools that we are going to look at and review, they are very expensive. even companies, they pick and choose based on pricing. So as an individual who is looking for a cybersecurity role, even if you're in cybersecurity already, I don't think you are going to pay 18 grand or $18,000 just to have access to maybe Zen GRC to use and practice at home. And Zen GRC is just one tool. Do you know how many tools there are similar to Zen GRC and others? Right. So even if we give you all the money in the United States, you wouldn't be able to cover all the tools. So the point I'm trying to make is you don't chase the tools, chase how to do the job, learn a tool or two, right? You learn one tool, two, at least familiarize yourself with it. And there are some tools that you cannot even have a free version to play around with. Right. And we are going to look at those tools. And then we'll look at ones that you can have a free version to play around with. Now, the free ones, they have the same interface like the paid ones. Right. So mostly with the tools, sometimes it's just they are selling it just like how they are selling Gucci and Louis Vuitton and others. It gets to a certain point, it's just a name, not the quality anymore. Right. So if you know how to use one or two tools in a certain category, you can use them all. Right. Same way if you can use Microsoft Word. I think when you go on the Google side, the equivalent of Google is Google DOS, right? Or Google Word, whatever they call it. You can use it, right? Nobody has to even teach you that. If you use this, it's the same interface, same things that they do, right? So you can easily transfer those skills over there, right? So now, yes, tools, they are not mandated. You don't know because you cannot know all the tools. So if you chase tools and you are going to different interviews, different companies are using different tools. So if all you know is a tool, then you are out of luck, right? So, but on the job description, find out what they are using in the company, school yourself on it, watch some YouTube videos, go online, go to mostly if you go to the tools website, there is some demo. There is some demo on there that they will take you through. Because all these tool companies, learning how to use your tool is not a secret. Because for them, the more people who know how to use their tool, the more people are going to patronize their tool, right? So all of them, they are, like they would love to show you how their tool works in a heartbeat because they are selling their tool, right? So employers, they care more about your understanding of GRC and what you can do in GRC, including risk compliance, different frameworks, audit principles. They are more concerned about that more than tools. Because if you don't know that, they cannot train you on that in 2 or 3 days. And two, they didn't employ you to babysit you. Right. So like I always, I tell most people and they laugh. Are you going to employ a driver to teach him how to drive? No, nobody's. Then you might as well just bring in your knucklehead cousin to and pay him and teach him how to drive at the same time, rather than to get a stranger and he came in as a driver, but you gave him the keys and he's asking you, so where do I press for you to move forward? And then next you are like, okay, I'm picking on Shongo tonight. Shongo is going to be like, Doctor, you know what? Just give me the key. And you can please step down. Right. You're at the back of the car and your driver is asking you where to press to move forward. Of course, you are going to grab your key. But if he's asking you, I'm not really used to this fancy car. But where do you start it? How do you turn on the radio? Yes, I can orient you. I'll proudly orient you because of my cool car, right? Press here and then you do this, and the sunroof is even there, and because I'm showing off. Now, once that is done, now we are back to business. Now the car has started, you know where to start it. Okay, take me to Walmart. I'm not going to tell you where to press to turn left or where to press to turn right. You should know that already. You said you're a driver. The same way in the security space. So employers, they really care about what you know and what you can do more than the tools. But that is not to say you shouldn't know a tool, right? So I can't stress on that enough. But tools you are not mandated to know a tool before you go to an interview. But going back to the caveat to that is you have to make sure you are not going into an interview without knowing everything on the job description, especially if they listed a tool or a framework, go through, make sure you are familiarizing yourself with it, and you are going to speak intelligently about it, right? So with that, if you are prepping yourself for a GRC role, like I said, your focus should be on what you can do in the GRC space, and also knowing the job, the tools, at least know a tool or one or two tools, and you should be good. Now, this is a summary of everything that we've talked about. So when it comes to the tool, when it comes to the GRC or cybersecurity professional, what everybody's role is going to be. So when it comes to knowledge of frameworks, is the GRC specialist or GRC analyst. This is what you are supposed to have. That risk compliance strategy is going to be you, developed by you. Tax automation is going to be handled by the tool, right? So setting up, alerts to prompt us when the date is due for this, when the date is due for this assessment. Tool usage. So support function, not a replacement. It is going to help you do support what you are doing, not to replace you. And the experience also nice to have, but it's not mandated, right? You know how to use a tool, nice to have, but not mandated. And I know there are a lot of folks on here who are going to attest to this, right? They went into jobs, they didn't know the tool. And even outside cybersecurity, if you don't know the tool, they're going to show you, but they expect you to know the job, right? So now we are going to be looking at the tools, the top 10 list for 2025 GRC tools. But before we do, we encourage you to look into our AI governance specialist program for all cybersecurity professionals. Now you have to start integrating AI into what you are doing. And then also in the cloud, security professionals and aspiring security professionals, you have to know how to move in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. And for some folks, so let me break this down here because I just remembered. So if you are learning AWS architect, solutions architect, or you are taking a course on those lines, or Azure solutions architect or Google solutions, that is not cybersecurity. You are more into general IT DevOps space. So some people are doing that and they think it's cybersecurity. If on the security side, you want to do anything in the cloud, first, you have to have a foundation, understand the different services that they provide in there, and then you learn how to maneuver in terms of security, what strategies to put in place for security. That is it. You're not going to be the one doing, deploying different systems and also doing transitioning from on-prem into the cloud, and you're not going to be the one setting it up and doing all that, right? So we encourage you to look into our cloud program. This is the best cloud program out there because it's very hands-on. And then also when it comes to the knowledge strategy part, it is also, way up there. And this will help you to pass any of the cloud certifications, cloud security certifications that are out there, right? So we encourage you to look into it. Now, for folks looking to break into cybersecurity, we encourage you to look into a cybersecurity entry-level course. It comes with, 2 months of training, 2 months of internship and workshop. We help with job placement. And then also you're going to have mentors, and all your mentors, they've gone through this program. They are currently working, right? So they know the path that you are going on, and they'll be able to help you accordingly. And then also for our PCI payment security program, for folks looking to specialize in a niche in the cybersecurity space, this is one niche that we encourage you to look into because PCI is global. It cuts across countries and industries. So that is why it's one of the frameworks that Eretmis chose to specialize in Eretmis Inc. as a company, right? So if you don't know about that, that is the secret here. Now, our GRC internship is starting on the 24th of this month. So for anyone, you've gone through RMF program, you've done some cybersecurity training, you have a degree in cybersecurity, a master's in cybersecurity, but really you don't know how things are done on the job. This is where you come to really get the hands-on, actually working on different projects. And we encourage you to look into this before our new cohort starts. So our YouTube channel, our WhatsApp group, the link is going to be posted, so you will be able to join also as well. And now let's look at our list. So before we start going through our list, what do you think are some of the tools that is going to be in the top 10? You can raise your virtual hand and we will give you the floor. And we are going to vote. So if your list is in there or the tool that you mentioned is in there, then we will see what we're going to give you after this. Moise, please go ahead.
No, my question wasn't about tools. It was something else, Dr. Edu. It was the difference between, can you tell us the difference between AI specialist and GRC specialist? Maybe later on the course, maybe later on.
Okay, so it's AI governance.
Yes, what is the difference between, what is the difference between AI analyst or specialist and GRC specialist or analyst?
Okay, so good question. Now, AI governance, so keyword AI governance specialist. For AI governance specialists, what they do is for all the tools that we use in AI, now we have compliance obligations. So these tools, they have to follow their AI, let's say, rules and regulations that is springing up everywhere. So we have to follow, for companies using AI, they have to follow those rules and regulations, right? Now, for the use of AI systems in our organization, AI comes with a lot of problems and baggage. An example is one of the cyber chats that we did in the news when we are talking about AI. There is a tool that law enforcement uses. It's called Compass, right? And this tool is used to rate people who are standing trial. So based on their record, their criminal record, it is rating them maybe high, medium, low in terms of risks. So if you are very high, chances of them giving you a high sentence is high. That way you don't come back and you cause problem in the society, right? If you are rated low, then they'll give you a less sentence. Now, for some reason, depending on the data that AI is being trained with, AI can be very biased. So here in the example of Compass, Compass was rating when you look at black and white people standing trial with the same, almost the same criminal background, it will rate the black person as more riskier than the black person. It will rate the black person as more riskier than the white person. Now, this is an AI problem, right? And it has nothing to do with the judge or whoever, right? So there is a lot of issues and problems that has to be taken care of in terms of how we manage AI, the risks involved, and some of the risks is what I just spoke about, right? How do we manage that risks? And in terms of compliance, we have different regulations. We have to stay in compliance. How do we manage that? So what you are doing in cybersecurity GRC is almost the same thing, but even more what you're going to do on the AI side, right? But here we are strictly looking at AI systems and technology that we are using in the organization. Now, when it comes to the GRC side, or the GRC specialist or cybersecurity analyst specialist, we are looking at the security of systems, right? Now, on the AI side, we're also looking at security of systems, but you go beyond that. Now you are looking at bias, you are looking at transparency, right? But on the security side, we are just looking at security. So whether the system is biased or we don't care, we are putting in place systems that is not going to allow attackers to be able to easily, get their hands on our data and our systems, right? So what you are doing, if you look at the principles of it, it's almost the same. But on the AI side, I would say you do more, a little bit more, because of the different twists that AI comes with, right? So hopefully that helps. And if anybody has another question on this, they can bring it up. All right. So now we are looking at George. Please go ahead. What is going to be your vote? Which tool?
I will say ServiceNow.
Okay, ServiceNow. Anybody else? And we have Uchema. Please go ahead. What tool are you?
Yeah, I wanted to mention ServiceNow.
Okay. Anybody else?
Metric Stream.
Metric Stream. Okay. Metric Stream.
BitSight.
Oh, say that again.
BitSight.
BitSight.
Open
Okay.
Pages.
Anybody else?
RSA Archer.
Open Pages.
Archer. RSA Archer. Okay. RSA Archer is a big one. Open Pages. Okay. And
How about Prevalent?
say that again, please.
Prevalent.
Okay.
Prevalent, he said. Prevalent.
Okay.
Yeah, Prevalent.
Okay. And last two to go.
Process Unity.
Process
Unity.
Unity. Process Unity. Okay. There are, and anybody else has any tools that you are using at work?
Trust.
Excel.
Excel. Excel is the biggest GRC tool. Most underrated GRC tool. And that is also what really will catch most people off guard. Now, the details for joining the Zoom link and everything is posted, right? I think, okay, we have these hands up already. Now, let's go to the list, right? What are we really in for? Kindly hold one. So the list for 2025, first on the list is metric stream. So I think somebody mentioned metric stream.
That's Moise.
Okay, Louise, metric stream. Okay, great. So that was a big call. Metric stream is the first one, right? And now this list is really by no specific order. It's 10, and we are going, I mean, one has to be first, and one has to be second. So metric stream is the first one. Now, overview of metric stream. Now we are looking at overview, key features, ideal for what, and then also some use cases and pricing, and then the focus when it comes to GRC, right? So for metric stream, it's a comprehensive GRC tool. So it covers everything, rigs, compliance, and general cybersecurity management. Now they have some key features. Now these are features inside the tool. So rigs insight, real-time rigs insight, customizable workflows, and then connect GRC suite also in there. Now it is ideal for enterprise systems looking to integrate compliance and risk and compliance solutions. And some of the use cases: enterprise risk management, IT and cyber risk compliance, third party. It helps with third party also as well, right? And for pricing, this is a paid tool. And mostly for these tools, it will be based on your organizational size, how many users you want to have. But these tools, they are not cheap. They are not cheap. I remember, I think 3 years ago, we wanted to use a particular tool. We went through the discussion process and everything. They didn't really tell us about the pricing and everything. They did demos and stuff. And then later for the pricing, that was the last stage. They okay, so these are going to be the number of users, blah, blah, blah. And they are looking at, well, for the year, it's going to be 60K. Like, what? Excuse me? 60K? Yeah, I think, but what we are going to use it for is not going to be worth 60K in our books. So we pass on that. And this is to tell you some of these tools are very expensive. So
Yeah, Dr. Sorry for
yeah.
yeah, that's cheap. Yeah, we're using Prevalent now. I was paying almost 600,000.
Yeah. So some of these tools, that is why, yes, I keep stressing on some of these tools. You cannot have some for free to play around with, right? So, I mean, if you know about them and you can see somebody use them on YouTube or something, you just grab that and run with it, right? On the job, now if you get to really work with any tool for at least a day or two, at most 1 week, you are going to be an expert in that tool, right? So, but for some of these, if you just want to play around with it and you want to buy it and use it yourself, I don't think if you give you all the money in the world, you'll be able to accomplish that, right? So, and the focus is on general GRC, everything GRC, right? So the next on the list, ServiceNow, I think it was George. We had at least almost 4 or 5 people talk about ServiceNow. Now, ServiceNow was a ticketing tool, and now everybody wants to make more money. So they branch into mainstream GRC tool. So they have ServiceNow GRC. Before then, they were like Jira. They were just doing their ticketing and minding their own business. But for the past like 2 years, thereabout plus, they've become mainstream GRC tool, right? So for them, also you are looking at robust automation capabilities, integrating rigs, and then also compliance tracking and operational resilience. But they're still not lost their ticketing aspect of it. When it comes to that, I think it will beat most tools when it comes to the ticketing because that is what they started with. Now, some of the key features, they are third-party vendor risk management features, they are comprehensive policy management, predictive analytics. They are ideal for large enterprise setups in regular sectors like finance and healthcare. You can use them in almost any industry. Use cases, IT risk management, compliance tracking, third-party vendor, business continuity, and also policy management as well. Pricing also based on users and based on the organizational size. Then the focus, compliance, operational resilience, and IT risk management. Now, the next is IBM Open Pages. So Open Pages also for Open Pages, they kind of got in the lead with all these tools that we've looked at. They have some AI twist to it, but Open Pages, they are the first to tell you is an AI-powered GRC tool. Now, all these other tools, they are also AI-powered in some shape or form, right? Now, the key features here, audit management, scalability, extensive customization options, and ideal for complex regulatory landscape. So, especially if your company has to stay in compliance with different frameworks, and then also you are in maybe like a financial health side, and you have other industry regulations outside cybersecurity that you have to stay in compliance with. This will be able to help track everything for you, right? So operational risks, regulatory compliance, financial controls, IT governance, and internal audit. Those are some of the use cases. And the pricing starts from 272 per user. But don't get carried away. This is per user per year. Don't get carried away. They are bringing you in with this, right? You might end up paying like $500 plus for per user. And depending on the size of your organization, that will easily add up, right? Together with other features that are paid within the tool. And focus is enterprise risk management and compliance and audit. So it covers almost everything. Now, Hyperproof is the next one. This is cloud-based. Now, most of these tools that we've looked at, they are cloud-based, and then they also have the versions where you can download and use on your systems at work. So, but almost now, most of them are cloud-based. Hyperproof, cloud-based, also has some AI twist to it. It helps in compliance management with real-time monitoring and automation. Continuous compliance, automated evidence collection, and then also streamline your audits. So it leans more towards the compliance side of the house, even though you can also use it to do some risk assessment and also continuous monitoring. Part of what we do is also paid based on the size of the organization. GRC focus compliance and risk management more than, and really on the governance side is a bit low on that side. Logic Gate, Risk Cloud. So this is a no-code platform enabling organizations to build customized workflow tailored to their specific risk profile. So the focus here is on more risk management and compliance. Some of the key features is what has been listed: risk assessment, compliance management, use cases, enterprise risk management, compliance, audit, third party, and then also incident response. You can use it for, and then I think for their focus is risk management and compliance. Now, on Spring is the next one. This is also similar to what we just saw. The focus here is also on compliance and risk management, but here they also have audit. So audit falling under compliance. So heavy on the R&C of GRC. Use cases, audit management, compliance tracking, risk assessment, policy management, and incident reporting. And some of the features are what is on here: workflow, automation, real time, also as well. Now, next is Audit Board. I don't think I heard anybody talk about Audit Board, or maybe somebody did. Audit Board is one of the GRC tools that has been around for a long time, right? And like the name suggests, the focus is on compliance and specifically auditing. So Audit Board is being used by most auditors or assessors are used to this. Most companies, they've used this for the longest. And this is a platform for specializing specifically in audits, risk and compliance management. Now, use cases, we have internal audit, SOC compliance, risk management, and control testing. And some of the key features, risk assessment, compliance tracking, is also paid and based on your company size and all these other features. And the focus is on audit and compliance, obviously. Now, depending on the use case, right? If your company, you have to stay in compliance with a lot of frameworks, you are very heavy on that side. And depending on other use cases, most companies, they want to have a tool that is more comprehensive, will be able to cover other areas, not just, but also dependent if you just want something that is strictly or will really help you well when it comes to the assessment side, then that will really inform how you go about choosing your tool. But all these are the top tools in 2025. Now we have SAI 360 or CR 360. Overview comprehensive is also a comprehensive tool for GRC, similar to what ServiceNow and others are doing. It covers almost everything. So we are looking at compliance, we are looking at risk management, and some ethics also here and there. Now, use cases, regulatory compliance, policy management, ethics training, risk assessment, and business continuity. Some of the key features, compliance tracking, policy management, and risk management. And it is also paid based on the different the size of the organization and all these other areas as well, right? Now, Workivia I think, is the last one that we are going to look at. Now, this is also heavy on the compliance and risk management side. It provides itself as a platform for reporting your compliance items across different departments. It's ideal for organizations aiming to streamline reporting and compliance and use cases, financial reporting, risk assessment, and compliance documentation. It's also paid, but depending on the size of the company and all those features as well, right? Now, Zen GRC, I think, is going to be the last one. So Zen GRC is also one of the grandpas when it comes to GRC tools. It's also been around for a while. Very user-friendly, for that I can tell you. Also cloud-based, and the focus is on compliance and risk management. It's also used for third-party risk management, so anything that falls under the risk management space. Continuous monitoring, audit process simplification, and then also compliance tracking are some of the key features for organizations seeking a GRC solution with robust monitoring capabilities. So it helps in monitoring your different compliance dates and everything else. And use case, so compliance management, risk assessment, audit readiness, and third-party vendor management as well. And it's also paid, also based on the size of the company and the users and all that. But this is GRC one of the fine tools in the security space, especially the GRC space. So now, what should you take from this? Right, all these tools that we look through, they are the top cybersecurity tools for 2025, top GRC tools for 2025. What we encourage you to do is at least pick 2 or 3, familiarize yourself with it, right? So either you are going on the company's first go to the company's website, read about the tool, what it is used for, the use cases, the focus, you like the focal point of these tools. So like what we went through, this focuses more on compliance, this focuses more on this. These are the situations where you can use this tool. So if an organization is using it, then you know exactly what they are using it for, right? So a tool that is compliance heavy, they are not necessarily using it for governance, obviously, right? So it means the company, they are more like that is that is where they focus more on when it comes to, or they have some obligations on that side that is a bit heavy. That is why they chose that tool, right? So this is a list of the tools that we looked at, the use cases, the different focus points when it comes to GRC space, right? And I think a hand was up before Kumlan. Jason, I think Jason's hand was up. So Jason, you can go ahead, and then Kumlan can ask the question, and then we move on.
Hi, Doc.
Yes, go
Good
ahead.
morning. I was gonna ask about OneTrust, but you said top GRC to 2025, so I took my hand down.
Yes. So there is a whole, if we go, we have to go through even top 20, there is a whole list. We have to cut this at 10, right? There is continuation of the list is there. Maybe probably we're going to post that in the WhatsApp group. So you can continue the conversation over there. Now, for these tools, we are looking at the ones with free or free trial or trial versions. We are trying to see the ones that had free versions for you to use, but they don't have free versions, but they have free trials, and we are going to go through that here shortly. Kumulan, please go ahead.
Yes, I think you answer my question because I was expecting you to list Archer.
Yes. So Archer is also one of the fathers or grandmoms when it comes to GRC tools, RSA Archer. But, it didn't make the top 10, but it's in the top 20. Right. So Archer has also been around for a while. Now, some of these tools, I think there are a few ones that are pretty new, but I think for the rating, we're looking at, the user friendliness, which ones are being used more by organizations. So all that will contribute to, right? So, some years you have some tools coming up higher than others. So it really depends. Now, for the free trial, for Metric Stream, they have free trial, and that is upon request. You have to go through their sales, team, pretending you are going to buy the tool. Then they give you the opportunity to do. And some of these tools, for them to even give you the free trial, you have to come in with a company email and stuff. Now, for company emails, there's a way around it. Entry-level students, they know when they are downloading their tools for their hands-on. There's a way around it. You can create your own and then get a company email and use that to, for these purposes, right? So for ServiceNow, also there is a demo on their site, and then also upon request, you can have that as well. For IBM Open Pages, I think for them, you just have to create an account and you can some of these you can create an account. The ones that don't have any tag of reaching out to sales team, you can just create an account.
Me 18 from that side. The Macy side is 16. And then the other side,
I think kind of mute yourself. So you can just go in there and, on their website, you'll be able to just sign up and start using the free versions, right? So for the ones that are totally free, you don't really have to reach out to sales team and stuff that you can actually, start using. I encourage everyone to at least try your hands on it, get some tutorials on your own. If you have a friend that has it, they can walk you through, right? Using these tools, they are not that much of a hassle. You just need to know your way around and you should be good. Jimmy, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have just texted you a question that I had regarding every single presentation that you have so far given us. There are different routes that you have since presented to us. Now the question is, which one is in most the demand? Which one gives us a better ROI regarding the different routes that you've presented? For instance, the GRC, the PCI DSS, the cloud security, and all the other routes. So which one is ideal and best for any of us based on the ROI? Yeah.
Okay. So depending on what you are trying to do and where you are, right? So if you have some IT background or no IT background, and depending on what you really want to do, that will help us to guide you through on the specific path or on the other path, right? So for anyone with no cybersecurity background, no IT background, you want to start in cybersecurity, you cannot start with PCI. Or I won't encourage you to jump into cloud security. I encourage you to go through the cybersecurity entry-level course. Right. Now, all these different courses, you don't have to do one to be able to do the other before you be able to get a job. All of them, they are a standalone course, right? So if you go through one, you'll be able to use that to get a job. Now, reason why we don't encourage you to jump with no background, jump into PCI is that PCI is a niche in cybersecurity. So we expect you to have a good working knowledge in cybersecurity before you get in there, right? Cloud security, you should know cybersecurity before you get in there, right? Because everything that is a niche, an area, right, within cybersecurity. So you have to, it's like you want to learn, like you want to maybe learn engineering in French. Look at it that way. Everything you want to learn in French, the underlying factor is you have to know French, right? So if you want to learn the French, like a job in, working a job where you speak French and you're going to be, they're employing you because you understand French, then you don't have to go learn engineering in French to be able to get a job doing that, right? You can learn French, get a job in French, speaking, not the job in French, but the job that you're going to be communicating in French. And then you can follow up now because you understand French. You can do maybe a course in engineering in French because now in that class you understand what is going on. You understand what they are talking about, right? But if you jump straight into an engineering class and you don't understand French too, now you're gonna be it is doable, but you have to be learning French alongside trying to comprehend what is going on the engineering side. So if you really don't have that, level of resilience, you are probably going to give up in the middle of it. But if you went through and you studied French and you understood that, and later on you are jumping into, okay, now I want to learn engineering, even though it's taught in French, I know French now, so I understand. Although you are not going to be a master in French, with a PhD in French, but at least you have a good working knowledge. You understand what they're talking about. You can make sense out of it. You can also write some things in French. So hopefully the analogy I'm making makes sense, right? So depending on the path, and then somebody will come through. They've been in IT for this number of years. They are looking for something that is going to help them specialize. For those folks, they can, depending on what you've done in IT, we can branch you off into maybe PCI or cloud security, or depending on, right? Because for them, polishing up on maybe a few items that they don't know will be a bit easier than somebody who is not already in the industry or has no IT background, right? So with no IT background, we encourage you to go through the entry-level course, go through the training. It starts you from scratch. Cybersecurity, building you all the way from scratch, intermediate level knowledge and skill, and then we move you into working on projects, so the internship, and then we help with job placement, and then interview prep as well, right? So hopefully that helps. Dr. Morocco, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask if you guys are training on SOC, please.
You mean SOC, SOC analyst?
Yes, please.
So we don't have a standalone SOC course, right? But depending on, we have students who've gone through entry level and they are working as SOC analysts. So depending on exactly what you are looking for, right? If somebody, you are like, okay, I just want SOC labs, to be able to go through, because mostly when people ask, I want to do SOC training, the question is, why SOC training and what is your end goal? So if your end goal is to become a cybersecurity professional, then why are you limiting yourself to SOC analyst? SOC analyst is just a role. There are so many different roles in cybersecurity.
Oh, okay.
Right, you see what I mean? So why limit yourself to SOC analyst? And when you really know what a SOC analyst does, maybe probably you don't want to choose SOC analyst. Now, there are different tiers in SOC analyst. So depending on the tier you are at, right? Sometimes you just have to sit and watch traffic in real time. So even if you're working from home, there's nothing like, well, I'm going out with a case to just have fresh air or stand there. You have to, be on your system the whole entire time, right? Watching what is, because you are going to miss stuff if you are not there, right? So, and then also if you are working on site, then you are going to be in the SOC center, right? And SOC centers, you are there for like 12 hours straight, 12-hour shifts, and maybe it's not a much fun place to be, right? So depending on what you are reading, if your end goal is to become a cybersecurity professional, then you have to look further than just SOC or somebody telling you, hey, just do TPRM or just do. Now, whether you are doing SOC, you are doing TPRM, or you are doing GRC, the underlying goal here is you have to know cybersecurity, right? So whether you are driving a Mercedes, whether you are driving a Toyota, does it really matter? What matters is you have to know how to drive. So if you know how to drive, we can always orient you on the different vehicles. So look at the job titles as vehicles, right? The different vehicles that you're gonna, operate. So if you have you know how to drive and you can drive good, we can, put you in different cars and orient you on them, and you'll be able to. All you need is the orientation, and you should just, pick it from there and run with it, right? So that is why mostly I encourage everybody, regardless of. I think we have Raul asked this question like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Raul reached out and he was like, "Hey, Dr. Edu, I want to. Do you have SOC training? I'm like, okay, what do you really want to do? Is it really SOC?" So we broke it down, went further, and yeah, I had some SOC training somewhere, so I wanted some hands-on. I'm like, no, I have something better for you. This is what you're supposed to do. Now Raul is working. He's been working for I think almost 4 years now, thereabout. So he went through, did internship, and he got a government contractor job. Making his video is on YouTube. We interviewed him a while ago on YouTube. So mostly, like I said earlier on, depending on your goal and where you want to get at, but don't limit yourself to job titles, really. All right. So hopefully, and we can talk offline if you want more insight into what you are trying to do, right? And the details of how to get hold of Dr. Edu and all that has been posted. Silo, please go ahead. Now we are going to look at the free tools here. Kindly go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And my question is about the training. Yes, if I want to be cybersecurity analyst, how I can be training on my job area?
Oh, so for now, okay, that also brings a very good question. So, just like what I said earlier, cybersecurity analyst, GRC specialist, GRC analyst, third-party risk analyst, they are all vehicles. So if you want to be any of them and you have no IT cybersecurity background, you have to. So that means you want to drive any of these vehicles or be in any of these vehicles, you have to learn how to drive. Now, if you go to a good driving school, they will teach you how to drive well, and you'll be able to drive any vehicle with some little or no orientation on that specific vehicle, right? So if you want to be a SOC analyst, a GRC specialist, name it, whatever you want to be, you can go through our cybersecurity entry-level course and you'll be fine. Now, the only thing you are not going to be after the entry-level course is you are not going to be an ethical hacker or penetration tester, if you want to call it that way. The training doesn't focus on that side, right? But it focuses on everything on the blue side of security. That is really going to help you.
And if I already have a introduction, CAMTCHA introduction and CAMTCHA A+, I just jumping direct to a cybersecurity analyst. How I can do to build my career very strong and very management.
Okay, so like I said, even if you have CompTIA A+, so A+ is like the entry point in IT when it comes to CompTIA certifications. So with that, we will still put you in a cybersecurity entry-level course. That is the 4 months program, 2 months of training, 2 months of internship, and then you'll be ready for the job market, right? And from there, when you are done with that, so for example, for the internship, we put you in different vehicles. So you are doing a third-party risk analyst project, you are doing an incident response tabletop exercise project, you are doing awareness training project, so we put you in different vehicles, right? But proud to you coming there. We expect you to know how to drive at least to a certain point, and then reorient you on these vehicles and actually show you how to operate these different vehicles. But the underlying factor there is most of the students in the internship, they came from our entry level. They are the main, like the main people that we feed into the internship, and then we add other people from different training and different backgrounds. If you have a good working background in cybersecurity, then we are going to put you in that also as well, right? So you can, for what you want to do, I encourage you to look into our entry level. right? So with that, we are going to move on and then take more questions. And just running through quickly, our AI governance specialist, you can look into this. The best AI program out there, our cloud security, also one of the top cloud security programs out there. And then our entry level that I'm talking about, the 4 months program, 2 months training, 2 months internship. This is all you need to be able to start working in the cybersecurity space, right? You don't need anything beyond this. And then our PCI for folks already in cybersecurity or IT looking to specialize in a niche. This is also one of the areas that you can look into, right? And then our GRC internship and workshop. This is where you actually learn what you are going to do on the job, right? By doing. You're actually going to learn by doing, right? So we encourage you to also look into that as well. Now, with that, we are going to look at the free tools. And anybody, any clue on some of the free tools, the GRC top free tools that are out there? That might not be that common, or nobody has looked some of those up. All right, now let's jump in. So, Mramba is a community. So if you see a community edition, it means it's free, right? Most of the tools, if you have a community version, it means it's free. Now, if you use this, you can use ServiceNow. You can use most of the tools that we just looked at. So this is also a comprehensive GRC tool. It covers governance, risks, and compliance. You can use it for to even track your incident response activities or incidents that will happen. Key features. They support ISO, PCI, SOC 2 frameworks, and then also risk assessment, control management, policy tracking. For organizations that are looking for a robust, no-cost GRC solution, this is one of the tools for them. Now, this is their website. You can go on there. Now, this, you have no excuse. You can go on there, then, try your hands on it. And there are a lot of videos on there on how to use this as well. If you use this, there's the same interface as most of the paid tools that we were talking about and discussing earlier. Now, Simple Rigs, also, it is an open source risk management. The focus is more on the risk management, risk treatment side. And you can also, at least maybe on the compliance side, you can stretch it a little bit on that side as well. But the main focus is on risk management on the R side of GRC, right? So it streamlines your risk management processes. It makes it easy, and it's user friendly as well. Now, all the free ones, they are also user friendly, so you can look into this one also as well, right? Now, CISO Assist, like the name suggests, this is going to assist your CISO, or if you're a CISO, this is going to assist you in managing your whole entire GRC setup that you have. It really simplifies everything that you are doing in the GRC space. It supports over 30 frameworks. And what do we mean by supports 30 frameworks? So they have pre-configured, or they have these, like the inputs that you are going to manually do for if you wanted to add PCI to this, adding the requirements. They've already done that, or like in there, right? So the different tools, that is what they mean by support. So you can use it for different frameworks in terms of doing your compliance, either internal assessment or external assessment. And for cybersecurity teams looking to centralize their platforms and managing their GRC for free, you can use CISO Assist as well. And then you have GovReady Q. So this is also an open source tool. The focus is on government compliance. So for organizations working in the government space, it supports most of the NIST frameworks that you are going to be working with as well, right? So for folks who are looking to get some hands-on on the different frameworks in the NIST side, when it comes to the government contracts and others, you can also try your hands on this. And then we have Redmine. So Redmine also is like the focus. You are looking at GRC in general, right? But it has more of a project management twist to it. So that helps to manage everything that you are doing for GRC in terms of tracking, documentation, and customizing your flow, workflow also as well. So, and the website also here for you to go through and look at how to download or how to use these tools for the ones that are online or web-based. And Matisse Backtracker. So this also can be configured for GRC activities, but it goes a little bit beyond GRC. It helps track issues, more focusing a little bit more on the incident response side also as well. And then also it serves as it can manage your GRC tax and activities that you are doing, but not a very heavy GRC tool necessarily, but one of the top free ones out there. Right now, we are open for discussions. If you have any inputs or any other tools, free ones that we didn't add, there are a lot that we didn't add because we are working against time, so we cannot list all of them. There are a lot GRC, RSA, and others that I think some folks mentioned. And if there are any other tools that you are familiar with that you want to bring up, you can mention them, or you can maybe bring it up for other folks to also know. And then whilst we are waiting, and if there are any questions generally on these tools, you can raise your virtual hand, and we are going to also address that as well. Now, whilst we are doing that, some shout outs for Manuel from Worcester. We have Andy, Chicago, Will, Houston, John, Dublin. Wow, okay. Dallas, Sailor, and Wisdom from Baltimore. And we have Martin from this okay. Also, Martin was in his location. Bernard from Ghana, and Delapine from Houston, Texas. George, Ghana. Charlotte, North Carolina. Sue, and I think Ernestina, Houston, and some team lives in the Larry, New York. Karen, Texas. Fort Worth, Texas. Leslie, Minnesota. Kwame, Maryland, and let's go. So some team lives in there. Lawyers will get okay. Oh, I think Gabriel was thinking about lawyers will get the bulk of the T-Mobile's money, not the customers. Yeah, yes. They also work for it, right? Okay. Anastina says she's going to work. She will rewatch, and then we have some team lives in there. I appreciate everybody's input. So, and we got Jason from Japan, Kelly from Pittsburgh, and we have Nia, Maryland, and Philly, Chapel, Philly, Rosie, Arizona, and Texas, Benjamin, Texas, and the list goes on. So I think there are some, bronze. We have, there are a lot of Diallo joining us from New York, Evelyn, Worcester, Utah, and we have Silo from Charlotte, North Carolina, Shungo joining us from Virginia, Dr. Morocco joining us from New York, and Kelly from Pittsburgh. Right. All right. So going through these programs we've gone through already, so we will jump straight into questions and answers, and we are about to wrap up. So there are some hands up. John, kindly go ahead, and then we go to Kelly. You are muted if you're trying to speak, John.
Thanks a lot, Doctor. Thanks for everything, and thank everybody here. I'm calling from Dublin in Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's about
it's very
midnight.
late. Yeah, I know.
Thank
But
you,
I
thank you,
study a
thank
lot.
you.
Yeah, Doctor, I really need help here. It's a long story. I've been doing cloud security, cybersecurity, and now I'm in a payment card industry where we create payment, all different kind of card, Amex, you name it, about like 16 different banks. But I'm totally lost, and the company is not organized at all. So
Okay.
I got the job for infrastructure engineer, but because my cyber background is very hard, very, very strong and technically very strong. So now I've been thrown into creating VAT reports and helping them to arrange infrastructure, patch management, everything you name it. So it's like I'm overwhelmed with informations, and I've been following you for a while now, trying to know which way I can go through to be like master of my stuff, because there's
Okay.
so much to read, so much to know. But at the end of the day, everything changes every 6 weeks. It changes every 6 weeks. So I just need help to master it and lead a team of, I think, about 120 people.
Wow.
I
All right.
really, that's why I can't sleep. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I mean, we can relate, right? And most people can relate on here. So, what we will do is this, John, look in the chats. There is a link there.
Okay.
Schedule an appointment, and then we'll talk offline and get into the details of what you're doing, and I will be able to help
Oh,
help
great.
you
I will do that.
sleep, and have your peace of mind, and be happy to go to
Yeah.
work every day, right?
Sometimes I feel like running away.
Now, if you run away, what all these people looking up to you, what are they also going to do? They can't run away. Yeah, they can't
I
get a
know,
plan.
honestly, because on the inventory technical side, I'm very strong. Cloud tech, I'm really strong. I can fix anything, but this, the reading and documentation in, GRC, all this you say, is really, it takes a lot of energy,
All right,
you
man.
know.
We'll go through it. You'll be fine. So,
Okay.
and from everything that you are talking about, Ben,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of information to go through, right? But
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
are lucky to have somebody who's been there, who's done that, they just point you in, two or three directions, and you're like, oh, really? That's it? Then that's it, right? You're gonna take that, and you don't have to
That's exactly what I'm looking
waste your
for.
time going in circles
Yeah.
and getting lost and coming back. And it's like
Yeah.
if you have a GPS, why try to use a map to go to wherever you are?
Exactly. Exactly. I've been using the map instead of the GPS.
Right. So turn left,
Yeah.
like map is not going to tell you to turn left, and it will give you like a street shot and tell you, hey, there's traffic on your way. So you might want to use this route. Right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
let's talk offline, and I think you should be good. Kelly, please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. Thank you very
Yes.
much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Doctor, thank you. The question I wanted to ask, I think in the course of your explanation, you really touched on it. I just want to ask before, after the entry level, can someone apply for like GRC specialist job?
Yes. So once you're done with not, let me just tell you some of the rules, and I think there are some of our entry level students on here who are, so some of the job titles that they have, right? Some are working as third-party risk analyst, GRC specialist, cybersecurity analyst, and the list goes on. You know why? Because they know how to drive, so they can drive almost any car. Now the job titles are vehicles, so it's just like you have Mercedes, you have Honda, you have, right? So if you know how to drive and you're trained well to drive, you can drive any car. Because in the cybersecurity space, the funny part is most people think job titles, yes, they are job titles, but they are just job titles. And what do I mean? You can be working in company A as a cybersecurity analyst. What you are doing is totally different from somebody in company B who is also a cybersecurity analyst.
Yes.
And you can be working in company A as a cybersecurity analyst. What you are doing is what somebody in company B is doing as a third-party risk analyst. Right. But you are doing a third-party risk analyst job, but they labeled you as a GRC specialist. You see what I mean? So if you're going in there with the notion of, okay, so this is exactly what a cybersecurity analyst is supposed to do, and that is all that you can do, and you get in there and they're like, yeah, this is what you're going to be doing. Are you going to tell them, oh, okay, then I'm sorry, I can't do this job. I was coming in as a GRC analyst. I didn't think I'll be doing a third-party risk analyst job. Now, that is the title they've given to the job. So what are you going to do? right? But if you've been put in all these different seats and you have a solid working knowledge in cybersecurity, I mean, they can literally change your job title on you or put you in a different group, in a different role. You should still be able to function, right? So that is why
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of, hey, you have no IT background, cybersecurity background. Oh, come and do third-party risk analyst. And then you go there, they show you steps in third-party risk analyst, and this is what you do, and these are the tools we use, and then that's it. We bless you off. Go find a job. Now, on the job, you're a cybersecurity professional first before you're a third-party analyst or a GRC specialist or anything, right? So they should be able to move and switch you. And don't think you're only going to be doing third-party there. They can bring anything your way. So you don't want to be there scratching your head and always you're looking behind you like you are missing something or somebody is going to, come for you, right? But if you are starting off and you have a solid background in cybersecurity, you understand all the areas of cybersecurity, and then you also do a program sort of internship where they put you in different seats, and now you get to know everybody's role and what they do, and you can actually do it, right? So anywhere you find yourself, for the third party person, you know exactly what they are doing and you can do it. For the risk analyst, you know what they are doing and you can do it. For the vulnerability manager, you know what they are doing and you can do it, right? So if they move you around, it's not an issue because you understand security, first off. Two, you've worked on different projects and you understand what they are doing. So you can do it, right? And if anybody comes to you with a question, hey, so, we have this security issue. What about this and that and that? And all you did was third party, you are very limited in terms of one, your knowledge base is weak. Two, all you know is the steps of what you do in third party. And even third party, you are not as effective and efficient, but maybe probably nobody is troubleshooting you, so they don't see. And you are signing off things and saying this company is good, work with them, but their security is really bad, right? Service level agreements you are approving and without even reading, or you're reading it, you don't even understand the things on there. But you are just checking them off and say it's good because you are hanging on to dear life, right? So when it comes to job titles, yes, every job needs to have a job title, but really, they are not set in stone. So we have like a lot of students currently working. There are companies who will be bought by a different company and they will change their job titles. But guess what else will change? Nothing. So 3 months ago or 2 weeks ago, you were a cybersecurity analyst. Now you are information security assurance specialist, and we are doing the same thing, right? So that for the job titles, they really need to be like they need to be there, but it's not really set in stone, and there's nothing like what is on there is exactly what you are going to be doing. There's a session that we did on Cyber Chat, and we were privileged to have some of our own who are working on the job, and we were able to get the job description of the job when they were interviewing for it. And we went through and we asked them, hey, so now you've been on the job for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years. Is what you interviewed for exactly what you are doing? Now, some were doing exactly the same thing. Some were doing less. Some were doing really something a little bit off. But, just to kind of have everybody gauge in how to really, but for the interview, you are going to use the job description to prepare, obviously. But there's no guarantee that on the job, they are not going to go beyond what is on the job description, right? So that is why I always stress on learn how to drive. So even if they switch the car on you, well, you still the principles of driving remain the same. So you should be good for the most part, right? So hopefully that helps, Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right, everyone. So I think we are at a good stopping point. We are wrapping up for tonight. Appreciate everybody's time. Hopefully you got something for your toolbox. And for the tools, going through them, this is for the knowledge piece and the awareness portion. The actual doing of the job is up to you to, grab everything that we gave you, go download one or two tools, play around with it, right? You can Google, you can, go to the company's website. You'll be able to have some videos on how to use it. And, just moving around it will give you that confidence to even talk about it during interviews that, yes, I know this tool, I can move around with it, right? So And that is what you are supposed to do as security professionals. So I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great and wonderful weekend. We will meet same time next week with a different topic, and we're always going to learn something new and have something for our toolbox. And if this is your first time of joining us, we encourage you to look into the chat, the information that has been put in there. There are some free courses that you can take to begin your cybersecurity career. And then also you can make an appointment to talk to myself and some of our team members on how to proceed in terms of moving into the cybersecurity space. And if you are here, you've gone through internship and others, and you're applying for jobs and we don't know about it, you are so wrong. Reach out. I'm seeing some familiar faces on here that I've not heard from for a while. Kindly reach out. Let's see where you're at in your job application process. We are here to help and assist you. Have a great and wonderful evening. We will meet next week, same time. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.